And another edition of Absolute Batman is here, bringing even more about Absolute Mr. Freeze. Issue 8 is packed with stuff about Batman's relationships with his friends, more details about the death of Thomas Wayne, plus a ton of action and even more weirdness with Mr. Freeze. So let's dive into the story and see what went down. No wasting time, let's get into the edition. The story kicks off with Bruce's friends telling him he can't run away anywhere. Meanwhile, in the present, Bruce is being dragged by Victor Freeze Jr., Mr. Freeze, after getting taken down by the villain in the last issue. Freeze hauls Bruce to a dome connected to a pipe for some twisted experiment, having figured out that Wayne has been hiding something since he gave him a fake ID. Bruce tries to protect himself but passes out before he can do anything. Soon enough, Bruce wakes up inside the dome. Victor wants to freeze him, just like he was frozen in the past. The monster wants Bruce to feel the same pain he did when he was stuck in ice. Alongside Bruce, there are more people frozen, like members of powerful families, including the Powers and the Gates. They all believed in the past that ice would help them escape anything, but Victor tells Wayne that ice isn't salvation, it's a memory everyone wants to forget. Before being frozen, Bruce remembers arguing with his friends in Crime Alley before everything went down. Waylon Jones is fighting with Bruce, saying that Wayne shouldn't end up like Matches Malone, a coward. Bruce gets mad and goes after his friend. Meanwhile, in the present, Bruce is suffering intensely in the ice, and all that exists now is agony. Back in the flashback, Bruce and Waylon are throwing punches. Bruce asks why Waylon called him a coward, and Waylon says it's because of everything he did in the past to stop Black Mask, wanting to face the villain all by himself and going on suicide missions. And in the heat of that dialogue, Waylon easily takes Bruce down. As Bruce's body freezes more and more, he remembers Waylon's words from back then, saying that Matches Malone felt guilty for what happened to Thomas Wayne. Bruce's dad didn't survive the zoo massacre because he couldn't find matches, and that haunted Matches, making him grow up reckless, just like Bruce ended up blaming himself for choosing to visit the zoo, which made him who he is now. In the present, Bruce manages to throw a batarang with his gauntlet to break the dome that's trapping him, while in the flashback of the fight, he's lifted back up by Waylon. Meanwhile, Mr. Freeze is talking to someone mysterious. Somehow, he managed to mix a bacteria into the snow falling in Gotham, and everyone exposed to that snow will be vulnerable to this mystery person's experiments. He'd have the genetic info. Before finishing his chat, Mr. Freeze gets interrupted by Batman, who shows up with a torch in his gauntlet, ready to take on his enemy. Freeze is quick, so Batman scorches his face to gain an edge. Still, he can't stop Mr. Freeze, who grabs Batman by the face and slams him against the wall. Then, Freeze decides to open the domes and bring the frozen people back. But these folks look more like zombies than humans, and they rush at Batman. While he's battling these zombies, Batman remembers the chat he had with Waylon and his friends when Waylon asked Bruce if he wanted to die. Waylon tells him that Thomas didn't die because he wanted to off himself somehow. What made him the hero we know was his attempt to save lives. Waylon wraps up by saying that for those living in Crime Alley, they're all survivors, and that's what Batman should aim for, not to be someone seeking death, but someone chasing life. Waylon asks Bruce again if he wants to die, and Bruce quickly replies, "No way." At the same time, Batman's trying to fend off the zombies but then decides to break free from Mr. Freeze's grip and bolts, smashing through the wall ahead of him. The Bat tries to reach out to Waylon while escaping to tell him about Freeze and what he's done with Gotham's snow. Batman thanks his buddy, saying he was right, and tells him to gather the others. Meanwhile, Waylon gets ambushed and kidnapped by two guys who say he's the perfect specimen. They knock him out and take him to Arkham. So, this edition of Absolute Batman is pretty interesting in some ways but fails in others. Even though it has its high points, I think this issue ends up being a step down from the others. The downside, in my opinion, is Mr. Freeze himself, cause his motives just don't land. I can't buy what this villain is selling. I get that the story tells us he was conscious while frozen, seeing everything around him, but feeling so much pain and agony over the years, plus mutating from the bacteria in the ice. But it's not clear why he's at odds with Batman or Gotham. It's not clear who Freeze is out for revenge against, it's just established that he's working with someone, maybe that someone is the Joker, or who knows, could be Bane. Even though this arc isn't wrapped up yet, it seems like Mr. Freeze is going to take a back seat in the story since it's time for other villains to step into the spotlight, like Bane, who we already know is coming in the next issue. So, despite Mr. Freeze's justifications, I still feel he hasn't convinced me. There were missing elements to make the villain interesting. I even imagined he'd go through another transformation stage, becoming even more monstrous, based on the covers we've seen, but it didn't go down that way. He had his mutation but turned out more humanoid than monstrous. I know different artists work on the issue and the covers, but I thought there'd be more to his transformation. Even the mutation Freeze went through didn't feel totally convincing to me. Something was off that justified his whole change a bit more. Scott Snyder does an amazing job. I've really been enjoying Absolute Batman, but Mr. Freeze ended up being a character he didn't develop well, both in Earth Zero and in Absolute Batman. On the flip side, the art is fantastic. Marcos Martin's artwork is stunning, and I love how he uses onomatopoeias to amp up the action scenes. Like when Freeze slams Batman against the wall and we've got the onomatopoeia filling the panel, it's so good. You can really feel Batman's pain going up against Mr. Freeze. Plus, the color composition is really well done. The contrasts between cold and warm, light and dark, and life and death are excellently handled, especially in the flashback with Bruce and his friends. There are moments where the characters are just in shadows while the snow falls, but when they talk about life, being survivors, and lighting candles for matches Malone, it really highlights the contrast which resonates with Batman himself. So, this discussion directly influences our protagonist, pushing him to want to live and include his friends in his crusade against crime. We've got a solid effort here. Bruce and his friends are well developed in the story, but unfortunately, something's missing with Mr. Freeze. Now, let's wait for the next issue cause Absolute Bane is on the way. Have you read this issue? Do you agree with what I said about issue 8 of Absolute Batman? Let me know in the comments, I really want to hear your take on it. And don't forget to hit that bat-like button on the video, subscribe, and ring the bell, because I'm gonna keep you posted on everything that's going on with Batman and DC, and you'll be getting all kinds of videos to keep you in the loop. Here, we do reviews and recaps of comics, animations, movies, shows, everything about our beloved superheroes, so it's super important to subscribe so you don't miss anything. Plus, consider supporting our work through the thanks button next to the subscribe button. This way, you help us bring even more videos to you, and always with increased quality. Thank you so much for all the support you give us. For those of you who haven't seen how this new Mr. Freeze came to be, click on the video popping up on your screen and catch up on everything from the last issue. And to stay updated on all things Absolute Batman, click on the playlist next to it to get the full scoop. Thank you so much for being here in this video. I'm signing off now, and I'll catch you next time.